Sometimes you have to do that because the easy challenge is one you'll get lazy with. The big challenge gets you hungry.
Oh, how the tables turn.
That's a heavy topic, and we need to focus on that. If not for yourself, then do it for your children.
Black book is in his
Black book.
Blkmen Talk, Black Book.
What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce out of many of the shows I do. One of the ones I'm very passionate about is the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers. That's sponsored by Blkmen Plus Care, and being part of that movement, our team has reached out directly and indirectly to over 500,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And welcome to Blkmen Can Talk, a show where Black Canadian men come together to have real, unfiltered conversations about life, culture, and community. And happy right now to be joined by one of my co-hosts, Kofi Sadat. What is going on in your world, Kofi Sadat?
Greetings. I'm good. Just returning from the capital city.
Yes, Ottawa. Yeah.
For a minute. So, shout out to my Ottawa folks out there. Definitely loved the short but sweet time I spent out there.
How was the journey there and journey back?
It was actually good. I mean, I decided to take the bus, right? Yeah, I took the bus from Toronto to Ottawa. Smooth ride. It's 4 hours and a bit. So it was pretty nice. I mean, the weather was good. We escaped the bad weather you guys had on Friday in Toronto.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, there you go. Well, somebody had to escape it.
I appreciate you.
There you go. And yeah, and the ride back was smooth as well. So, but I really, I know we're going to talk about wins and whatnot, but I really did enjoy my time there. And like I said, it's a city that's very dear to my heart. Spent 8 years there, so I really did enjoy just coming back. What about yourself?
Yeah, you know what? I can't tell you the last time I took a bus, for a long distance. I can't tell, Toronto Transit Commission. I've maybe in the last 2 or 3 years, because whenever I have to drop off my car at my mechanic,
right?
And even the last time I had to do that, I took Uber. I didn't take a bus.
There you go.
There's just something about.
Brother, my knees were killing me on the way back. I was like, oh Lord, how was that this long? Because it was a nonstop ride, but it was a good little adventure. So
wow, the closest thing I've come to that is about 2 or 3 years ago. I took the train to a conference in Windsor.
Yes, and
what I did is I rode business class. I'll never go back. It was so good riding in the train in business class because NICE had a big, huge desk if I wanted to do work, and there were hardly any people there. Quiet.
Nice. On the train. I got to do that. That's one of my bucket list things to do, is to go both west to Western Canada on the Via train and then go east to Halifax. And so that's definitely a bucket list thing I want to do. Just, a different experience instead of flying somewhere. You can drop at different places, see the country. So that's definitely on the bucket list.
Interesting you mentioned that, because a number of years when I was working in the world of call centers, I remember getting a call one day. She was in Houston, Texas, and we began chatting. And I said, "Oh, where are you located?" She says, "Houston." "Oh, well," he says, "Where are you located?" "I'm in Toronto." She goes, "Oh, I love your country." I go, "Really?" So have you ever been? She goes, "Yeah." This a number of years ago. Her and her mother took a train from Toronto to the West Coast of Canada. I said, "You know what? I said, I hailed her up because I said, let alone you doing that, living in another country, not many Canadians have done that.
Exactly. It's true. So
I said, incredible. And I think, just think about taking a train across this country. Not many people have done that.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I definitely want to try it out, and yeah, so it's all good. How was your week? How are things going for you?
Uh, it's been doing some maneuvering through some things,
Right.
but all in all, pretty good. And then I was talking to someone on Friday, and we were chatting. Something was just in my mind, and I was chatting with this person. I said, "Okay, I had this thing that I've been doing for a while, and I said, what do you think about me doing this? And we could probably do it." So it just propelled me to start doing it. So I started creating the idea, the thought process, and I just got off the call, just bouncing it off another person. Yeah, you need to do that, Vibe. You need to do that. This week will be, and I'm not waiting for it. I'm gonna offer it, not show it, offer it to other parties. And I'm not waiting till it's completely finished. I just have an idea right now. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
see if I can reach out to see if there's other people's interest
Right.
on it, because I really don't want to do a whole bunch of work if there isn't interest there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You
Well,
know,
listen,
if there's
listen, I was just speaking your praises to a friend of mine. I was like, yo,
oh
he's thinking of doing a podcast for the longest time. I'm like, yo, Dr. Vibe says just do it. And I love it.
yeah, and we can talk about that. But when all you need to do one these days is one of these. It's all you need.
That's all you
You
need.
don't need elaborate setups. When I started, it's an interesting conversation, because when I was doing the morning vibe on Friday, one of the
Right.
regulars in the audience, one of the family, asked, "How long you been doing the morning vibe for?" And I go, that's a really good question. And while I was doing the show, I did some research. 5 years. No, but I didn't. I'm going 5 years.
Yeah.
I just went, what?
Yeah, you've been doing this.
I didn't. It didn't seem like 5 years.
Yeah.
And then I got really scary and took a look on how long ago I did my first show. We're not even going to go there right now.
Woo!
It's been a minute.
Quiz. That's today's quiz, guys. If you can find out how long Dr. Vibe
Wow.
doing the shows, I should say.
Doing on a live. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
If you can guess that, and also what was the first show about? There's two-prong question. You got to be an OG to relate to what we did our first show about. So I think we have Kofi Morris in the house. Is he ready to come on? He's setting up. I don't know if he gives me either a thumbs up in the green room, or sends me a message, because I'd like to do our collaborative wins together if he's available. I don't know if he's available or not. I see the shaking around and all that. So you know what? Why don't we just do this? Why don't we get a win from you then over the last week?
Okay, for sure. Like I said, the trip to Ottawa was definitely a win, and a win in the sense where I took my youngest to Carleton University, which is my alumni. I'm an alumni of Carleton University, so I took him because he was interested in doing some studies there. So we went to the open house. So it's kind of surreal, walking around. I'm like, really, X amount of years ago, I was walking these halls as a single man, not as a father. Now I'm returning to this space, right? Kind of, and things have changed. Things have advanced. Buildings look a little different. But I was thinking about how different this experience was. Me being there as a father with him than with my parents. My parents were just like, "Hey, you got into school? Go." Right? They didn't come for the first, orientation of the week, and there's nothing on them. They were, doing what they're doing, but that wasn't just the culture, right? So to see that I'm there and he's asking questions and whatnot, to me, I think that was a real win, because anytime we, shift things generationally, I think we were setting a new set of culture and expectation. So I would say that was my win. Yeah.
Excellent. On my end, just the support as I'm doing some navigation through some things right now, and just having some good people in my life to give me honest thought and feedback on things is a real blessing to have that, because I and I think often during these conversations when we're talking about Black men especially is the whole aspect of loneliness. And I can say, I'll be honest, I'm alone, but I'm not lonely at times. So I can be alone, but I'm not lonely. If I choose to be lonely, that's my choice.
Right.
That's having the support there of a lot of great people like yourself. If I need to reach out, and we bounce things off each other, etc. So it's really a really good thing. I'm actually going to see it. There's something I saw today. I wanted to maybe access it. I don't know if I'll be able to pull it up, but I want to know if Mr. Morris is available. I see him doing all this stuff. Is he ready to come on? Is he? I don't know. You know what? Why don't I just put him on? Mr. Morris?
Give you some blessings, brothers. Everybody feeling? Everybody doing?
We're good. We're good. How you doing?
How about you?
Giving thanks, brother. Giving thanks. Just been backstage, just waiting. I've been in the green room, chilling, sipping some juice for a minute.
Okay. All right. This is good. What is a win that you've had over the last week?
Last week, I think I maybe 2 weeks ago, I shared a story about a brethren who actually an older brethren I met at the gym that was like, yo, you have to go a sauna, brethren, you have to go a sauna. So I have to say that I've been able to enjoy, the relaxation, the peace that comes from sitting in that heat and stilling the mind, so that's been a win. It's just the consistency of that of the self-care in the gym, and trying to reap as many of the benefits of the membership as possible. So that's been a blessed addition to the regimen, So that's a win for sure. It's just a commitment to that,
Beautiful self-care, brother.
Kofi, I want to ask: does anyone here do saunas?
So that's what I was saying. The brethren inspired me to get into the sauna. So now I've been going into the sauna and just increasing the time that I'm in there and stuff, And
it's interesting you mentioned that, because I got suggestions a long time ago that saunas are not good for you as a man, but I'm hearing that they are good for you. So I'm getting conflicting information about saunas.
It probably is, like in terms of like everything has, a balance, right? Like, not spending too much time in the sauna, but definitely being in there, it relaxes you, opens your pores, you sweat, which is always something good, right? So definitely, I mean, to answer your question, I go there now and then, especially after a swim or something like that. I go into the sauna, but yeah, I think, to do the research, probably, just a balance of maybe not, spending too much time in there and, trying to really kind of weigh that. But what do you say, Kofi?
I haven't heard much in terms of negative reviews, but maybe that's something I can add to one of the health corners, of the balance of some of these things. Because again, as you mentioned, balance with anything. I don't perceive like particular extremes of any temperature over extended periods of time are harmful, right? So let's say ice baths, right? Ice baths has a benefit, especially to men. But being prolonged in that space of freezing cold, of course, right, can cause other damages. So we want to balance those things. So what you're saying is true, right? It's still a balance. But I haven't heard many of the negatives. So I'm going to look into that as well in terms of prolonged use. But I wouldn't do, more than 15, 20 minutes max myself. But again, some people do up to half an hour, right? And then brothers, they're losing weight. Like, there's a lot of benefits in terms of releasing of toxins. All of those things are beneficial, right? So, but I'm going to take a look into that myself. That just kind of piqued my interest.
Right.
Have either of you ever done this ice bath thing? Has anyone ever done that?
Listen, I'm humming because my niece has put me down that one of these cold January 1st, she wanted me and her to go to jump into that cold water. So no, I've been avoiding it. I've been, but every year she's like, "Uncle, you promised you would do it." So no, I haven't done it. I don't know if I could do it. How about you, Kofi?
It's interesting, bro. this whole piece around even immersing yourself in cold water.
Yeah.
It's been something I've been exploring for a minute. So I think the aversion we have sometimes to cold, we got to get over it. So my thing is doing something like that. I'm open to it for the simple reason that I've been able to explore a little bit the benefits of like cold portions of your shower being cold.
Yeah.
And it
Yes.
boosts your immunity. Like there's a lot of benefits to that. And you think about, right, the heat of the water.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about extremes. The heat of the water on your skin, people sometimes are in that for extended periods of time. If you don't balance that with cold, then what you're doing is you're just you're opening up your pores, which is good, but then you're not reaping the benefit of being able to, one, close, and then two, balance out the benefit of the cold water, which a lot of us don't like.
Okay.
So I would do it. I would do it for the benefit of, one, like the health benefits relative to some of what I've mentioned, but also to explore it just as a challenge, to be honest with you. I'd do it.
Okay. Ice bath challenge coming up, folks.
Well, I've been told the way to start on that slowly is when you're in the shower, turn cold water on for 60 seconds, then turn it off.
Yeah, for sure.
On and off, not going prolonged. Like, I don't know, Kofi Sadat, we will let you do the ice bath. Though I know there's you first. You first.
I'll let y'all know. I'll go live when I do it.
Please, no, you know what? I'll film you, but I ain't going in with you. All right.
Thank you.
Let's go for a break. We'll come back and see if we can warm up the conversation. Though I don't know if we're ever going to get warm weather at this rate in this city, but we'll be back we'll be back in 30 seconds. You know what? I had something. Okay, here we go.
Toronto, July 25th. The Narrative Power Summit is landing in the 6. This is about ownership.
This is about controlling our story. If you're serious about narrative power, strategy, and ownership, this is the room you need to be in. To get your tickets, go to africandiasporanews.org/Canada. I'll see you in Toronto.
There we go. African Diaspora Narrative Summit, Aqua Supper Club, July 25th, 2026 from 5 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. There is the link there if you won't catch it. Actually, I'll be there. I'm actually hosting and also leading the panel discussion. So if you want to check it out, if you want to really get a good foothold in media, actually Black owned and Black focused media, I highly suggest you be there. You saw some of the people in the promo there, but especially a gentleman named Philip Scott, who runs a platform on YouTube called the African Diasporic News Channel. He's been doing it for about 8-9 years. His platforms have he's 1.9 million subscribers. And he's coming up here to give us some game on how to do it. And actually, if you are following me, I'm actually interviewing him this Wednesday at 12 noon. So check it out.
All right. Sounds
so
good.
We got that going on, and we lost Kofi Morris for a moment, but I'm sure we'll get him back. Quick stuff here. As always, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, hit the notification button, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. If you want to advertise your business, product, or service on anything that we all do, email me dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. So we got a freestyle tonight there, but after some of the stuff that Paul shared, I have one or two questions for him that maybe lead to discussion topics.
Okay. I have something as well, so we can get into
I will let you go. I will let you go first.
Okay. So I don't know if folks have been hip to this, but just a short synopsis. There's a comedian by the name of Godfrey, the Nigerian.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I love him. He has a podcast called 154, 5-4, where they're talking about all 54 countries in Africa and things that impact them, right? I love it. Love that podcast. He had a comedian by the name of Learn More out of Zimbabwe that was on the show. And Learn More was breaking down the opening song in Lion King. I didn't want to do it injustice, but it's like, blah, 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 whatever they say. But what he translated, he said it translates, it's in Zulu and Xhosa, and it translates to, look, oh my, there's a lion, right? However, and he made it seem very simplified and whatnot, and they were laughing about, that's what he was saying. I thought they were saying all these, deep things. However, it kind of created a row with the elder that created the song, right? The elder who's from South Africa, and he speaks Zulu and Xhosa, and he was just, so the interesting piece, he was saying, no, that's not what the interpretation of the song is. It's actually wrong. It was more of, look, there's the king, right, which is the lion, right? So they call him the lion who's the king. So in their culture, it's something respected. Look, there's the king. Let us bow to him. That's what the full meaning is. So he got on social media, I guess, and he was saying, he was insulted and this and that, and he belittled my creation and all the kind of stuff. Because Lepo is his name, the elder. He's been going around for over 10 years doing international shows and this and that, and he sings a song, he created it, he directed, all that kind of stuff. But then there was a little back and forth, right, where he found that Learn More, which is the comedian, the Zimbabwe brother, was not apologetic, and then Learn More is like, hey, it's just comedy, right? And with comedy, we make fun of things. So the interesting question points really is around, there's a few. The first is, how serious do we take comedy, right? And do comedians have a responsibility to correct things when they're wrong or when they disrespect culture, right? So that's the first part of it.
Good question.
Yeah, do we take it? Do comedians have, that responsibility, or are they okay just to make the joke, right? Because it's comedy and we laugh. So that's kind of like where to start the discussion, and then also the relationship between the elder and a younger, right? Like that. What is that communication look?
That's really that is really strong. What you're sharing here. First of all, Godfrey is funny.
100%.
Yeah, and there was a video I saw the other day he did, and now if you don't like cursing, you shouldn't listen to Godfrey. Let's put it that way, because he can cuss sometimes.
Yeah.
And actually, Paul, do you know he's actually coming in Toronto later on this year?
Yes, I heard.
I am thinking about going to see him because I know it's gonna. I know it's gonna sell out.
Oh, for sure.
It's gonna sell out. And also, I saw it was in my timeline on Instagram, and did he not do a recent show with Joy Reid? And they were going in on Stephen A. Smith from ESPN. But getting back, and for those who, I don't think Paul will freak out his partner is a very well established comedian.
For sure.
It'd be very interesting to get her lens on that. Yeah, and it's funny how much, how can I say, how much comedians lean in and how comfortable it can or cannot get.
Right. Yes, that's true. It's true, right? Like, there's been a lot of backlash back and forth, right? With both towards and towards Learn More, right? Because again, there's a balance, and I think with sometimes I always say, like, we gotta not always take ourselves too seriously, and then we have to straddle the balance of when is it like not that funny. So I think that's a difficult piece to navigate. But also, I said, even the relationship between an elder.
This is what I'm going to ask you about, the whole thing of the elders and the younger generation.
So it it's a little bit of a riff, but for me, I think what it is it's how do we have these healthy conversations, especially when, even though I look at myself, like things that would have been funny, skits that would have been funny, in our days, comedians, like even Richard Pryor, right?
Oh yeah.
Him
Mm-hmm.
talking about
Mm-hmm.
drug abuse, him, talking about almost, unaliving himself, like those things in today's world may not be as funny, right? Because of whatever, right? So sometimes the culture of the time that you're living in is not in balance. So how do we work on, putting together these bridges, right, of understanding?
Great conversation topic because there's so many layers. We talked about the whole community thing, but also that communication barrier between elder and younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure I'd be very curious to get your lens on what are the people who were supporting the elder Black gentleman saying versus what the younger people. And if you could sort of summarize, I'd be very interested to hear on that.
Okay, so on the side of there's a couple of dynamics that I think are also interesting. So on the side of the elder, a lot of South African folks were defending him, in a sense where what Learn More said was not linguistically or culturally correct. His interpretation of what the song in Lion King, it actually was not in alignment, right? So there was a lot of folks were on that tip, and then also respecting the culture, right? That really was the thing, and I think people felt like it was being attacked. But on the other side of it, with the people who were defending Learn More was, again, one, the ability to laugh and to be humorous. Two, which is a point where I'm even thinking, like back in the days with hip hop, I'll explain. But two, he actually has brought more attention because I'm sure most of us did not know who the creator of that song was, right? So through this, a lot of people have been looking up who Label M is and his music and all this kind of stuff. So you've brought more attention to him in that way, right? And then the whole piece around, whose responsibility it is to um, have these conversations and even the forum, right? Because the elder reached out to him, but in the nowadays world, it's very interesting because before you might sit down, me and Dr. Vibe face to face if we have an issue. Now everything's on social media, so then it goes viral in a way that sometimes we can't always control.
And thank you for that breakdown. Out of curiosity, did you feel there's any misunderstanding culturally?
Mm-hmm. So it's funny.
Or was it more based on ageism more than culturalism?
Yeah, I think for me, when I first saw the clip, so the first clip with Learn More talking about the interpretation of it, I was laughing. I loved it, right? But also there was another thing of it, because when we talk about culture, as you mentioned, he was speaking to Godfrey, who's Nigerian, and I forgot I think the other co-host is also Nigerian. So he was kind of doing, some cultural education in that way, and also to a big African American audience, right? So he was like, you guys are going crazy for this song, but it simply just means this. So there was that aspect of it, and then, like I said, because he's from Zimbabwe and Lebo is from South Africa, the cultural part, was really kind of a point where, for those who don't know, there's a lot of Zimbabweans that are living in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And not because of that, but there's been some rifts around that piece. They call it xenophobia, which is also something that was brought up by Learn More, right? So there's been some negative backlash, or because the foreigners are taking over our jobs, or this or that, all that kind of negative. And that's not the majority of folks, but that is something that is happening, right? So there's that piece, and then for someone to interpret your culture, I think that was really the piece of it. I think the difference in age really, like I said again, is the context of what you may feel serious versus what you might see funny, because you don't see, like on the elder side of things, he wouldn't see in this context why this would be funny, because my music is serious, right? But let's just say people outside of South Africa may not see that song as serious, or the issue as serious, as someone who's actually in that culture, right? And yeah, and the one thing I will add as well is that we've always had the ability to make fun of our culture, right? How much skits you see Oliver making fun of, Jamaican culture or whatnot, and so on. So things that we laugh at, right? So I think that ability was also lost in translation, right? Like we do that.
It's interesting to add on to this that many melanated people, as we get older, we get more conservative.
Very much so. Very much.
And I think it's not only melanated, but just people. I'd say in a number of cases, as we get older, we get more conservative and not as tolerant.
Exactly.
Of things. So that I'm sure that is part of the conversation. I don't know if it was brought up with anyone on the social media thing, because a lot of times social media, they just go back and forth instead of taking a deeper look into that.
Right, exactly. And as somebody who goes to, like I said, my partners in comedy,
yes,
a lot of comedy shows, I hear some stuff and I'm like, and yeah, maybe I'm getting older. I don't find it funny in that context. Or for me, I don't like to hear a lot of swearing when it comes to comedy.
I'm not into that either.
But I recognize that's a product of my age and my stage as well, right? Because a younger generation, they're more tolerable.
Well, Paul, if I have your permission to interrupt, though, more and more on these social media streets, you're seeing people our ages like cussing like crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And we know that's not the way we came up. Right?
Yeah.
You're cussing, yeah, you did it, but your cussing wasn't in public, right? And your cussing wasn't in front of, your parents or so and so, stuff like that.
Exactly.
We definitely did not do that, but we did cuss. We're not gonna say we didn't cuss, but I think again that the animal of social media makes it a little bit different sometimes, because you're thinking, okay, well, I'm just here talking to this camera in this room, but you're actually potentially speaking to the world. Right? So it's not just me in my bedroom, but it's actually, oh, wow, someone across the way that's how I'm going to come across. Right? So, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to kind of figure, how do we navigate, this way forward, intergenerationally when it comes to issues like this. And it's not just about this particular issue, but I think a lot of issues, in interpretation, whether it's music, art, how we present ourselves, we're always going to have some, different cultural challenges, and then the intergenerational thing as well, right? So, yeah.
Oh, really good conversation topic, because on top of that, too, just in behaviors and all that stuff, it just seems that the boundary is getting so much wider and wider and wider, or broader. But in many areas, for example, in the United States, they want to make things more conservative, right from top to bottom, and restrict, not make it so, for lack of a term, liberal.
Right, exactly. And I think we're often products of our environments as well, because I would say, let's just say in the comedy world, from the limitations that I've seen, like African Americans, they may speak on some different topics than we would speak. And some things they speak about, we think it's taboo as Caribbean people, right? And then sure, vice versa. There's some things that we're talking about, they're like, why would that even be funny? Right? Like, so, we talk about those things, but this is also a platform for conversation, right? And
Mhm.
understanding. I think in social media, we can actually take advantage of that. Like, let's have some more clear conversations about, why
Yes.
this is challenging for us, right?
Mm,
How we can
mm,
kind of bridge, like, hey, I may walk away and say, I don't think that's funny within that my cultural context, but I get where you're coming from, right?
got it.
There's so much like with what I call the educated comedians, like the ones that even it might be a controversial topic, but they'll break it down. They've done the research. People love Dave Chappelle for that, for example, right?
Yes.
He actually will, like, he's done the research. So yeah, he's making fun of something, but he knows it on different levels, right?
Also, to a guy who we consider like a smart comedian, Trevor Noah.
Very, very, and that I think someone also raised that point. If he had said this, right, as opposed to Learn More, who's more of a, you know, less popular comedian, would there have been a different response, right, in terms of that? But nobody
Interesting.
could really say, right? Nobody could really say in terms of that. So
Interesting. I want to shout out watching on Facebook, Autumn Rose Walters. Watching on Facebook. So thank you for chiming in. No, that's a good one. I want to talk about, and in light of you traveling to Ottawa with your son,
yes,
the value of education for our young Black people these days.
you know, um, it's very interesting that as somebody who is and was a youth worker, and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
put context. When I went to school, or my generation of folks went to school, being uh, children of immigrant parents, first generation, um, education was definitely propped up. It was, you go to university, college, or you learn the trades. That really was your three
Yep.
choices. And in particular, university was, seen as better than college and the trades, right? Because people were looking, hey, I want my son or daughter to be a doctor, lawyer, or a nurse. Those are like the three careers that we really had back in our day.
Yep.
So, and education was, put on that level. I think and then behind us is a group of young people that we're working with. And I was surprised, and this would be back, let's say, early 2000s. I was surprised that what they looked at was my generation. One of the challenges, I will say, is that many of us had to take loans in order to afford education.
Yeah.
So they looked at that situation and they said, financially, I don't want to be strapped with these loans. So I'm actually choosing not to go to school. And I was surprised because I'm like, hey, you guys, you got this and that, go to school. I was pushing that wagon. And then when they sat me down, they're like, listen, I don't want to owe 40, 50, 60,000.
Mm-hmm.
Thought about that. I said, wow, that's a very, enlightened kind of discussion because yeah, you're gonna graduate, and yes, it's all good. And yes, we were taught about the value of education, no matter how much it costs, but we didn't look at the financial aspects of things, right? And many of us, because of that, financially, we struggled when we came out of school, and some of us are still struggling. So,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? And that's the reality. So, for this generation now, I think that some things. So there's certain things that they can access that we can access. For example, of course, the internet, right? So many of them could actually learn, you know, um, and even obtain certain degrees without going to traditional educational school. So they can learn, digital, learning and education and whatnot. They can build a website. They can do a podcast. They can, you know, produce books. All of these things without going to traditional formal education, right? So, it's an interesting time that we're in when it comes for education for young people because they need to feel comfortable with making that decision around what education means to them and what level of investment, right? Whether that's, financial or otherwise, they want to make. And I think that we have smarter young people because, of course, when you can look back at others' lessons, then yeah, but definitely it's an interesting time. Like, you can never say to a young person, hey, you're supposed to be in school, because they might be on this platform right here and be making the money or doing the thing that they wanted to do, that they don't have to go to a school to traditionally teach them to do that in 4 years.
Yeah, this is really interesting. And we've got a viewer here, Saint Hando, saying education was seen as key to success as Black children growing up in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, it was.
That was it.
I share this story periodically. People may or may not know my dad was a, excuse me, a public school teacher in the same public school for 38 years.
Yep.
And I remember, never forget, one of the many things I don't forget, when I graduated from junior high, I received a proficiency award, which meant I was top in education and athletics. Mm-hmm. So there I ended our graduation ceremony was held outdoors on the lawn and all that. And there I am walking up there, get my award from the Minister of Education, mm-hmm. was there for Ontario, mm-hmm. was there. And so I'm coming off the stage and I go, I'm, looking forward to my dad giving big congratulations. What's the first thing he said to me? You're going to university. I said, Dad, I just graduated junior high. I haven't put my foot in high school yet. You're going to university.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it, right?
Which would be interesting, if people ask me if I had to do it all over again, would I go to university? I'd probably waver on the side of saying no. I'd probably go to college more than university. The thing I really wish I would have done is started a business when I was much younger. That's the thing I wish I really would have done. Right. Is start a business when I was much younger.
Right. And I think, again, I agree 100%. I definitely would have went to college because I recognize my learning style is more hands-on, right? And less theory. So I wanted to make film. So I went to university to do film, not knowing that it really was this theory of making a film.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? I actually want to get behind the camera. That's what I've always wanted to do. Like, that's always been my thing. So, and in hindsight, I definitely would have went to college, and I agree with you with starting the business. So, and that's one thing I'm pushing with the young people that I interact with, is that to be entrepreneurial in anything you do. If you've got a skill, then you can have a business.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
mm-hmm. I tell people, if you can solve someone's problem, you got a business.
You got a business. You got a business.
You got a business, and it just, because I remember back in high school and I don't know too many other students who parents, regardless of whether they were melanated or non-melanated, there was maybe one or two whose parents had their own business.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just,
you know what I remember? And this is something, it may sound like a small thing, but I remember, because I went to school with this, so one of my classmates, she was Korean, and the store across, the local convenience store was owned by her dad.
Okay.
So, after school, we'd go and we'd play our games. Right away, she'd had to go to the store. We'd go to the store, buy our gum, and she'd be behind the counter. We'd be giving her our money all the time. She'll be calculating.
Okay.
Trust me. I think the amount of candy and gum that we bought, we probably financed her university education. But the difference was, and I could see it in her, there was a level of responsibility, understanding of money, And a lot of times, dad would just go to the back and leave her there. Right. And this is like, public school. Right.
Wow.
So, yeah. And I always remember that because I'm like, her, whether she wanted to do business or not, her understanding of business, customer service, relations, money, stocking, the flow, the direct connection between making something, and then going home and recognize that, oh, this is actually funding, my life. We didn't get that. We were just, hey, happy-go-lucky kids here, let me buy a Coke or a Sprite or whatever. And we
100%.
didn't make that relationship.
100%. St. Hando has got some more knowledge bombs they're dropping. So he says some of our leaders who make our policies in 2026 do not have a diploma or a degree, yet decisions affect degree holders. Yep. Some people are smart, but not book smart. And they continue saying, very true. If you don't sell something, something will be sold to you.
That's true.
Yeah, something that's gentleman told me a long time ago. He said, Dr. Vibe, if you are not writing the check, you don't own anything. Or as he also said, another person I follow said recently, those who feed you can starve you.
100%. And I think that's a huge quote that's relevant to, I would say specifically the Black community. I've always heard, like, if they close the grocery stores tomorrow, how do we feed ourselves? Right? Something simple as that, right? Like the means to control, your access to food. Food is just one thing that you can be fed. There's a lot of other things that can be fed, but even on a minimal level, that is something that your ability to feed yourself is really a liberating piece versus, having to wait till somebody, provides, or then in worst case, if somebody doesn't want to provide you with that thing, do you go hungry? Right. And I think that's even a lesson, not just for, of course, us in Canada, but really, if you look globally at Africa, the
globally,
right?
Globally.
Like, are we do we have the ability to minimally feed ourselves? I was speaking to my brethren in Ottawa, to show me, and he was saying to me, like, we're talking about the whole challenge of nonprofits and, funding and all that kind of stuff, which is a whole other topic, nonprofits and funding. And he said, it's interesting because he ended up, starting an organization, a nonprofit. He's no longer involved, but he started it, and he said, one of the disappointments that he had was he wanted it to be self-sufficient, and he goes, minimally, and it's a challenge to all nonprofits out there. Minimally, we should have the ability to pay the staff.
Yes.
And we've been through that road, Dr. Vibe. We've been down that road. You know what I'm saying?
That's a whole other conversation, but that's a very big point. Yep.
You should be able to pay your staff and keep the doors open. Right? That without funding.
Yes.
Whether it's enterprise or whatever it is, giving, whatever it is, minimally, we should be able to do that. And if you can't do that, and you're reliant on, grants, which we know are fleeting, then your organization is always going to be in a very precarious position.
Yeah, and well, that's a whole other conversation about the status of Black nonprofits in this country. If you took a look at that landscape about 2.5 to 3 years ago, it was a full landscape. I don't think it's as full of a landscape anymore. And I'll lean on that because especially through Roger Dundas of buyblacks.com, him and Camille always help them. They run something called Buy Blacks Restaurant Week every year.
Yep.
And even in the last year, they've said they've noticed at least 30% of the restaurants that were involved in the last year or two no longer exist. So if Black businesses in the restaurant industry are taking a hit, it's across the board, and it's even going to get more interesting. Again, we won't get into it, but what's going on globally with global politics right now. As I said, have you gone to fill up your gas tank lately? That's all I got to say.
Have you gone to the grocery store lately? because all those things.
Well, I haven't seen it hit the grocery stores yet. It's coming though.
Coming. That's what it's saying. It's coming, right?
It's coming. So
yeah, coming,
people, stock up now because definitely within a month or two, that price is going up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know,
it comes
on
back
another
to,
one of my channels, and Paul jumps in once in a while. I have a lady who's a holistic nutritionist. She comes on once a month, and she was on just this past Friday. And after we finished the show, I said, you know what? We need to do a show on how to eat healthy on a minimalistic budget.
100%. That's the greatest challenge with eating healthy. Is it's expensive.
Well, you know, yeah.
No, I mean, if you're shopping in the grocery stores, right? And again, the healthiest food is the most expensive food. I mean, you can't eat healthy, right?
Yes,
but the healthiest food for you is the most expensive, right?
In the grocery store, yes.
Yeah,
but you can, and I think more and more, I'd love to get someone on Blkmen who lives off the grid. I would love to know if there's someone in our environment that lives off the grid, who's like totally taking themselves off the grid, doesn't do the grocery store thing, that just lives, has observed the masses and is living the opposite in many areas than what the masses live. That would be a very interesting person to get on the show, because I think more and more people are getting more and more restricted in their options. And it's got to be really important to see presenting them a workable alternative than what's going on, because the people are just getting squeezed, man, and you're gonna have to get to a point, is the squeeze worth the juice?
Exactly.
You know, I've already started to cut back. In some areas I've already started to cut back. I'm looking now. I want to keep, I don't want anything more. I want to at least hold on to what I got.
And it's hard, man. It's hard. You know, like we gotta definitely look at, you know, the global politics, of course, that we're experiencing, and you know, personally, family, community, how do we, you know, respond and react in a way that, you know, is gonna be able to sustain us? Because you got to cut back certain things. You know?
Well, you either got to cut back or you got to increase your productivity. You got to increase what's coming in, or you got to or cut it back.
Right.
Because if you stay still, for many of us, the spread's getting wider.
It is. I mean,
you know, that makes. Yeah, we were chatting offline this week, all three of us, Kofi Morris included, about getting a financial expert on here. I think time is now.
The
time is now, because doing it in a month or two, maybe it's past, the world's moving so fast these days, but past 10, like I said, the gas prices have gone up, and I think people are finally realizing that drives up the price of everything. It takes time to go down the supply chain. I've already, like I said, I've already started cutting back. Thank goodness I bought enough things even before this craziness started that I can live off of. But I'm a person who, so the things I know I'm going to be using on a regular basis, I get them and use them as they come. There've been some regular items that I use, I haven't had to buy that item for 3 or 4 years.
Listen, we got to do like our parents used to do when they used to go to Nob Hill Farms. And
why you bring? You're gonna go there? Okay, watch
it. Family, so we used to buy that half cow to make it last till and throw it in the freezer.
Well, I was in a conversation with a couple today. I don't know if you would remember it, but there was a Chinese restaurant downtown that was on Dundas, just west of Bay. It's a downtown town called Sai Wu Restaurant.
Oh, Sai Wu. I know what too. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And I said, why are you talking that name out? I'm going, I haven't heard that name in like 20 years. I'm going Sai Wu Restaurant.
Woo.
Oh, and like when you went there, it was like special, like it was one of the top Chinese food places
Yep. Hilarious.
in Toronto. It's like I'm going Sai Wu. Wow. And then I really got into it. I used, again, this is for Toronto people. They would probably know it, but there I used to, especially during university, every Saturday I would go down to Kensington Market, buy my fruits, buy my vegetable, go to there was a European meat deli there, buy all the meat and all that stuff.
We got to stock up. We got to stock up, folks. So
Gotta do the stock.
How you're preparing for these times, and what you're doing.
That'd be a good. You bring up good ideas, like how are we going to prepare for the upcoming times? If we knew, we'll search around family to prefer. We like to have Black men who can give some good takes on how to prepare for the future, because right now it's looking precarious at best.
Exactly. And they say, study things that are far, because it will soon be at your door. So that's
you know what I'm saying? Okay.
Yep.
State Hando again says, thank you so much. He says, we really need to be financially savvy in our community. Okay, so we'll work on getting someone in the next few weeks on talking about a financial thing.
Yep.
I know Kofi and I know at least one definite individual who was at the Iron Sharpens Iron event.
Yep.
And both of us have known him for a long time. I'm sure we could get him on and talk about finances from a Black man's perspective. What should we, like, I know one of the things he would say is, do you have insurance?
Yep.
And even more so now, do you have insurance, not only for yourself, but what you want to set your family up for success when the day you want to transition? Because as I say to too many people, I see too many melanated people dying with a bill, not a will, but that's a whole other conversation.
That's it.
All right. I've been hearing noise in the background, so I have a feeling you got people that are not knocking you down that want to get a hold of you.
These people, man. They're outside this door as usual.
You're always in demand, man. This guy is always in demand. Get him. We're blessed to have him for like an hour or so. Anything more than that, it's a huge bonus. So, anything you're looking to get done over the next week? Anything we should be looking forward over the next week for you?
Sure. I'm going to be going to Edge symposium on Saturday. I'll let you know how that is.
Your audio has gone funny. Can you repeat that?
I'm hearing music. Are you hearing music?
Okay. Now it's better. If you want to repeat that, that'd be great.
Okay. I'm hearing music. Are you hearing music?
Yes, I'm playing it deliberately.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Okay. So,
yes, just a little bit fade out for the end, just wind things down.
So I'm going to be going to the ACPN Business Symposium at Sheridan College on Saturday. So, right, that's Ryan's work. So definitely I'll report and let people know.
When is this event this Saturday?
It's this Saturday.
Well, thank you for reminding. Are you sure? I thought it was the 28th, not the 21st.
I believe it's the 21st because they he does different events, but the symposium is the 21st. Because
thanks for reminding me, because I'm supposed to be appearing at that. I thought it was the 28th.
Check. Yeah, let's check.
Okay, we'll check right now. But I thought, and I saw. Okay, hold on. Let me just
pull it up.
No. Okay, no, hold on. I just gonna check because I'm going. I thought it was the 28th. Plus, he's on the show tomorrow morning, so I can always ask him. But I can look quickly right. Oh, I'm not logging. No, I'm not logging into Eventbrite. No. I'm not doing that. But I thought it was. Why was I thinking the 28th? I was thinking. Okay, let me just. Okay, hold on. Okay. Oh, it is. Pooh, It is okay. It is this. It is this Saturday. Thank you,
Yep.
you. Because I would have thought it was okay. I've got to. Well, I'll be there too.
Okay.
I'm going to be there for a little bit myself. So are you going to be there, Paul?
Yeah, for sure. I'll be there. I'll be there for sure.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So Paul and I will be together. I don't know if that's allowed. Kofi Sadat and I will be together. So maybe we'll live stream from there.
There you go. Sounds good.
So as we rock it out, a few things. Let's do this. If you want to get a hold of Kofi Sadat, email, Instagram, Moreroon. I love that. Moreroon. There's a YouTube. There's a Facebook. Also, Kofi Morris was with us, and unfortunately, he had to step away. We didn't get him back. But there's his email, Instagram. He has 2 Instagrams, Kofi Coach _ and then Cosmic Wellness Group. And there's him on Facebook. Let's see. What else do we want? If you want to get a hold of me, one link, taplink.cc/the DRVIBESHOW. And if you want to subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show, subscribe on YouTube, hit the notification button. There's other things there. Again, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on this platform or any of them I'm involved in, email us drvibeshow.com. Don't forget, ANDC Narrative Power Summit coming up July 25th. And then finally, you can watch replays of Blkmen Can Talk at the Dr. Vibe Show on, man, I have my quiet storm voice, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the Dr. Vibe Show website, the drvibeshow.com, and Paul Osbourne on Facebook. Wow. How'd you like that voice, people? That a little bit, you can watch that, but you get that deep voice happening. All right. So as we rock it out, as always, Kofi Sadat, pleasure having you here as always. Thank you so much. And as always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both and always make it better. Be well. God bless. Peace, well. Keep the faith. Well, good. Good to see you, Kofi. See you on Saturday.
All right.